All right, guys, I will start admitting everyone now.
Wait lang po.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Can I please request everyone to keep your Zoom on mute? Thank you. Can you all please try to type something in the chat so that we know you can type and we are receiving your messages? Please try to use the chat document. All right, perfect. Good morning, everyone. All right, about 15 more seconds and then we'll start the session. We're very excited to have you all here. All right, perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm Ravneet Singh. I'm your host. I'm the CIO with I request everyone to please be on the mute while you're in the call. Thank you, everyone. I'm very excited to introduce two guest speakers here, Mr. Ed and Mr. Gabriel. I will be introducing them very soon. Thank you, everyone, for your time. I know it's kind of Sunday morning and you are joining here with us. So official welcome to this webinar. Again, my name is Ravneet Singh and I'm the CIO with FCCPT. This is a very special webinar for me because we are completing our 6 years to this organization. Back in 2016 in September, we had major rules coming up from the FCCPT that we as foreign trained PTs could not bear with that. And we try to bring a change. We try to build a community where we can help the other foreign trained PTs in the community. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. We started to build this community with all the internationally trained physiotherapists all over the world. And we are very proud to say that we are almost 10,000 in the family today. So I'd like to thank everyone from the FACTS team, our Chief Operating Officer who is in the chat, Vrinda Kabadia. We have our CEO, Derek Hamlari, who's working 24/7 to keep building the partnerships and to keep building the reputation around the world that we can help the foreign trained PTs at the minimal prices that they can bear. And I myself, Ravneet Singh, we have our president, Dr. Bhupinder Singh. We have our secretary, Dr. David. And today we are joined with Mr. Ed and Gabriel, who are well-known PTs in their areas. And I'm very happy to introduce both of them with you. Welcome to the chat, welcome to the session, Mr. Ed, and thank you very much for helping us out, helping all the Filipino PTs to understand the blueprint to become a physiotherapist in the United States.
Go ahead, Gabe. Thank you, Ravni. Thank you.
Welcome, Gabe. Welcome to the webinar, and thank you very much for helping us, organizing this webinar. Gabe, as much as I remember, Gabe has done his practice in outpatient, in acute care, in orthopedics, patients with oncology. And I think, Gabe, go ahead and you can probably tell about yourself. And I think people are going to be very excited to hear you.
Yeah, just give me 1 second and get the
Sure.
PowerPoint set up. Sorry about that. I'm gonna start sharing my screen right now.
If you have any issue sharing your screen, Gabe, please let me know. I can stop sharing mine. Probably that could be another reason that it may not be showing. It should
Mhm.
not be, but I can definitely stop sharing my screen. Perfect, go
I
ahead.
think, there we go. That should be better. How's that? You guys see my screen or right there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start off with my introduction. So my name is Gabriel, and I'm a physical therapist here in Dallas, Texas. So as Revneet said, I work in orthopedics, sports, and right now I'm working in acute care, mainly in the oncology and the cardiovascular unit, treating heart transplants and lung transplants. But I'm fairly early on in my career, so definitely still learning. Let's go on with our little presentation. The first part will be primarily me and just a simple overview of steps me and Ed took just to become a PT here in the state. So this is from Ed. I'm guessing he's a collection of his students, I believe, and just Filipino PTs in general. So these are students, obviously, that are currently in their internship program. So what happens after graduation, right? So let me go next. So after graduation, what's next? So you pass your Philippine license exam, but is that really required to take the NPTE in the state? Not necessarily, but it's definitely still a good, good to have a local license. So at least you could work and save up your money before you start applying for the NPTE. Okay. And then we're going to talk about a little bit about work experience, the difference between the practice in the US as opposed to practice in the Philippines. I didn't have a lot of work experience in the Philippines aside from my clinical rotations. So from what I've seen in my rotations, there's a lot of emphasis on obviously passive treatment, but fortunately it has improved since then. When I got here in the US, it was definitely a big culture shock for me, considering that there's a lot of emphasis on TheraX and my ability to sort of formulate different exercises aren't as more diverse as it is now. So definitely a good learning experience and a big change for me, for sure. Okay, so obviously everyone's dream is to work in a different country. You can work in US, the Middle East, Australia, or Canada. So there's definitely a lot of choices for PTs to practice in different countries, and there's definitely different steps to take in each country. So we do have obviously NPTE Final Frontier, which is focused on the US NPTE, and we also have the PCE, which is more focused to any Canadian aspiring PTs, foreign PTs going to Canada. So we have those two entities that you could definitely apply and look into to cater to your, your dreams. Okay. So I think since me and Ed are mainly working here in the States, so we're really focused on, the process and steps that we took to work here in the States. I work in Texas. Ed works a different state. I'm not sure where, but he's working. But first things first, where do we start? So how do I start claiming my dream? These are different types of credentialing bodies or like agencies. So you have ICB, IERF, CGFNS, and of course, FCCPT. The most commonly used one that I've seen and the one I've used is FCCPT. I believe Ed has used a different one. So if you have any questions regarding that, towards the end, you can definitely, ask him a question via the chat. Okay. So the most important thing about like where you start off is choosing a state. It's definitely a big factor in how everything starts to come together. So let's say you have families in Texas, let's say. So I think it's smarter that you focus all your attention to getting all the paperwork done for Texas. But there's definitely states that are, I don't want to say easier, but there's definitely less requirements compared to different states. The most common state that I've seen a lot of Filipino PTs take is New York, either New York, California, or Texas, just one of those three. And each one has different steps and different requirements that you should know in advance. That way you don't waste time by like choosing one state, but in the end, you really want to work in a different state. So it's just being more efficient, and at the end, it'll definitely save you money because you don't want to spend too much on, you've already spent all the money on New York, but then in the end, you want to work in Texas. So there's a lot of money wasted there where you could be focusing on one state. So we have this information on our FACTS website, so you guys see right now. So this is just a little breakdown of the common states and like different requirements that they have. So looking at New York, as you can see, it has its own little credentialing body. It's called NYSED. So they don't really require TOEFL. As you can see, TOEFL is not required. That's why it's a state that a lot of Filipino PTs take. Definitely easier path, but it really depends, right? But you have California. Here's the difference with California. You have your TOEFL, but here's the thing, you have your jurisprudence examination. You'll notice that some states have them, just like Texas, there's a little law exam. The exam is fairly straightforward. Some states have the exam via, like, you handwritten the answers, but some of them are via online. I've only taken Texas, so I can only speak from my experience. So Texas has it online, and they definitely provide like a little PDF. So it's like an open book type exam. However, you can't really control F on anything, but you still got to scroll through and read through some of the information. But it's pretty straightforward and it's not too difficult. Also, as you can see, it says supervised clinical experience. So in California, there's definitely a requirement where you have to at least do like a 9-month PTLA sort of job where you work under a PT and they sort of supervise you. But there is an option to reduce that by 3 months by taking an ethics course. But I think at the end of the day, I'd rather take 3 months, an extra 3 months of salary rather than paying a class to just get those 3 months out of the way. But it's all up to you. Here's another one. So here's another one is Florida. Same thing. It's different from different states because there's a handful of states that don't require TOEFL, not just New York, and you'll see that shortly. But Florida, it still has a jurisprudence exam, but no TOEFL required. So you'll see that on the next slide. So here are like the 3 big things that you should take into account. The coursework tool, which is essentially what reflects the current standards that determine if the applicant is qualified to take the NPTE. So there's the most current one is your CWP6. That really, it's dictated by the year that you graduated. So some states will accept like a retro coursework tool, like a CWT5, but it depends on the state. Each state has their own requirements. Yeah. Then you also have your TOEFL. Again, so states that require TOEFL are about, there's only a handful of states that don't require TOEFL. But so roughly, let's say, I think 7, but it's not really states, but there's only a handful of states that don't require it. I believe it's Connecticut, Florida from earlier, and there's other ones. So these should be on our website. And each state, I believe, has certain score requirements that you need to meet, right? So, all right. So the states, like, I think I have a little note here. The states that don't require TOEFL are Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, New York, and Pennsylvania. But there's certain states that if you provide like some sort of letter that your medium of instruction is English, that they could typically waive that TOEFL. As far as I know, I've had students tell me Virginia has waived this TOEFL granted, he's presented like a letter saying his school taught in English, or at least the medium of instruction is in English. Also Maryland. But again, still try to contact the state and see if they would waive it based on that. Okay. And another thing that a lot of students look into is, of course, transitional doctorate programs. So these are all one of the common ones, like Montana, Arcadia, etc. So these aren't necessarily needed to practice in the US. You don't have to have a DPT to practice in the US. However, if you were to apply for, let's say, like a type 1 review, correct me if I'm wrong, Ravneet, you'll need at least a master's or higher. So at least completing your TDPT can get you that type 1. But also, it's not a guarantee that a TDPT can cover all your deficiencies if you do have, but at least it'll probably cover certain ones. So a lot of these it depends because every student's different and every curriculum from the Philippines is different. So I can't say for sure if you'll have deficiencies or not. So, but there's also certain states that could waive your DPT, your TOEFL if you've attained like a transitional doctorate program. But again, I would reach out to that particular state for at least confirmation on that. Okay. So what are like the type of documents that you need for your FCCPT, right? So let's say whether it's like a education credentials review or an NYSED, you'll at least need these documents submitted directly by the school to the agency itself. So such as your official transcripts, or a combination of like transcript hours, mark sheet, etc. A detailed course syllabi, and also a detailed information on the different clinical experiences, including like what hospital you did your internship on, how many hours, and just a detailed probably description of the cases you handled and all that. Okay. And this depends on how long each school takes to get all these documents together. I think FCCPT mentioned about emailing these sort of information to them, but as far as I know, I think it's for now from the Philippines standpoint, you have to mail those out. At least for me, my school had me pack these all together. They put in their stamp and everything, and I would mail it out. But it's addressed from them. But check with your school. Okay. So, and here, these are just the different services cost and then the approximate wait time that you'll expect to see. Okay, let me there you go. So these are the costs at the moment. I mean, these could change as time goes on, but as you can see, definitely add these up, convert it to peso just to help you out. And then the current wait times. So type 1 and ECR, they take approximately 12 weeks. So I've seen it as far as 12 to 16 weeks. So let's say you've done your education credentials review and you've gotten like a handful of deficiencies, right? So you take those deficiencies at whatever school, let's say Montana or Arcadia, you've taken those deficiencies, you file those for reevaluation. So you pay an additional 800, right? Pay those 800, you wait 6 to 8 weeks, see if you met the requirements for that state, and then boom, you could take your exam from there. One thing I forgot to add is creating a FSPPT account. So if you don't have a social security number, there's a little option in FSPPT where you can make like an AIN, which is I think it's an alternate identification number. That way, when you create your FSPPT, you won't need a social, at least for that. So at least you can keep track of what steps you are at when registering for the exam. You could be step 3 out of 5. You could be waiting for additional documents to go through or for additional documents to be verified. Okay. One thing to note though, that if there's certain states I believe that will require social, but there should be like some sort of form where you could let them know that you don't have it and you could provide a reason why you don't. So correct me again if I'm wrong, sort of neat. But yeah. Then again, these wait times are approximately, like for example, in New York, 2 to 4 weeks. It could probably take longer. It could be like a backlog of applicants from the past that still haven't gone through. So take these times with a grain of salt. But these are approximately what you can expect to wait for. And I think at least my part is over. It should be Ed coming up. So
thank you, Gabe. Thank you for all the information. And I'm receiving all the questions in the chat, which I believe I'm answering all of them. So in case if somewhere I missed any question, please do not hesitate to send your question to our team so that it's addressed. An official announcement while everyone is here, before I forget, everyone who registers for this particular webinar will be receiving extra 10% discount on all the services, the evaluation services that our team is offering. Very quickly, I'd like to show everyone what exactly you can benefit from the facts. The whole team has built this program to help the foreign trained PTs because we understand the conversion rate of dollar into our country. I'm an Indian, so if you go to India, it's almost like 80 rupees in India right now, which means whatever I'm paying right now is going to be multiplied by 80. So when you click on the services, you can see that you can take the consultation with one of our team members, which means for 30 minutes, you can have a one-on-one Zoom call with one of our team members if you want to discuss one of your case with them. Let's say if you're stuck with some deficiencies and you want to know if any DPT program can help you or not, or you're stuck with the processing with the specific state, you can go for the consultation services. We do have great evaluation report services, which means if you have a report with you and if you have done your FCCPT, CGFNS, IERF, anywhere you have done your ECR, you can sign up for your post-evaluation services. And as I said, everyone who have registered for this webinar will be getting 10% on these services. And I can guarantee you, because FCCPT is a non-profit organization, and you can never match these prices with any of the organizations out there. All right, so we will do the post-evaluation services and we'll give you the report within 10 days. If you go for the expedite, we can give you in about 3 to 5 days with details of the courses, the contact information, the price of the course, the registration link, and what month it is most easily available. So imagine if you are sending your report in the month of September and some of the courses are starting in probably January and same course is starting in March or next fall. So we will do the search for you and we will give you the most feasible and the most economical availability and the most easier course for you. And we also try to filter some things if one course can cover multiple deficiencies in your reports. Okay. We are very proud to say that we recently built a partnership with the FACTS and the IERF, which means that they trust us and they send their reports to us so that we can help them out, help their candidates to find out what kind of courses that they have to take. And it's all on the discounted price. One thing I really want to emphasize here, we are a nonprofit organization, which means we are not taking any profit out of what services are being offered. Everything goes to the evaluators or the post evaluators or to the organization back. We do sponsor a lot of students or a lot of people who can't afford their education through this organization. So if you are someone who likes to read about the services, or you like to know about what kind of state you want to go, you can just click on help, click on US licensure, and you will see everything under one page. Let me take you over there if it's possible. So you see, you just have to click on probably California. You just click over there and you can look at all the information. If this state requires the TOEFL, if you require clinical services or any other experience or any extra requirements that this state requires. Keep clicking on the states and you'll be able to see all the information right here. Okay, we have state board information right here, right under that tab, and then jurisdiction evaluation tools. For example, California follows CWD 5 or CWD 6, or they use the coursework tool, depending on your probably the graduation day, you can check right here. And if you still are confused and if you don't know what exactly needs to be done, just do not hesitate to go to the services at consultations. I think we do at least like 3 to 5 consultations every day on an average with their evaluation reports, and you can discuss your case one-on-one and probably make a list of things that you need to do so that the time and money can be saved for yourself. All right. And if you want to talk to us, you can always go to our website and go to the inquiry and send an email at contact@faxpt.org. I'm happy to take questions in the chat while I'm going to introduce Mr. Ed, who probably is the person who try to, help us to organize these kind of sessions a lot. So Ed, please go ahead, and this is going to be your stage to talk with all the candidates right here. And I'm sure that they'll get benefit with that.
Thank you, Ravneet. Give me a sec. All right, here we go. Okay. Ngayon naman, magtatagalog na ako. Dahil I've been receiving some messages or private messages to speak in our language. All right. After ninyong makuha yung credentialing, and then actually pwede nyong gawin, you can do them at the same time. Once you apply for credentialing or for evaluation, you can already schedule an interview para magkaroon kayo ng visa. Problem here is that the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines, I think they will, the next earliest or the earliest schedule is May of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one problem na kinakaharap ninyo ngayon sa mga nasa Philippines. So what should we do? What could we do? Or how are we going to take the exam? There are different suggestions. You could still go for and apply for U.S. Embassy for you to go to the U.S. Either in Guam, in Hawaii, or in mainland U.S. Pwede din kayo pumunta sa Canada. Mas mabilis yata ngayon sa Canada. Okay, you can take the exam there. You can take the exam anywhere in the U.S. and dun nga, yung Guam and Hawaii. But the problem with Guam is it's still under the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines. So it's 24. What can we do pa? You can talk to yung travel and tours and let them do the work. Let them do apply, i-apply kanila for an interview, and then sila kasi yung naka-monitor. They will be the one to monitor yung openings for the interview. Kaya mas madali. Kaya lang babayaran mo sila, plus ang maging kapalit noon would be for you to buy yung tawag dito, for you to buy the ticket sa kanila. They're TOEFL in Canada. No, kung sa Canada kayo kasi, kung sa Canada kayo, hindi ang TOEFL ay hindi doon sa Canada. Ang TOEFL ay para doon sa jurisdiction ninyo. If you will have yung jurisdiction ninyo, for example, is New York, walang TOEFL doon. So kahit sa Canada ka mag-exam, walang problema. Okay? So yun yung mga dapat ninyong tignan. Hindi ito kung saan kayo mag-e-exam. It's what is your jurisdiction. Yun ang importante. So in-explain sa inyo kanina ni Gabe or ni Gabriel na yung TOEFL ninyo, meron minsan letter or yung required na requirements na to take the TOEFL, pero meron kayong hihingin sa school ninyo para letter na the medium of instruction ninyo sa school ninyo is in English, and then they will allow you to para bang ma-waive na yung TOEFL ninyo. Okay? So sa US Embassy, $160 pa rin ang bayad natin for the B1, B2 or B2 dahil tourist nga. Okay? So anong dapat ihanda? What should we prepare? So ano ang i-prepare natin dito? Lahat. Especially ATT, especially yung prometrics natin. Pero napag-usapan to before eh. Ang problema lang natin dito, paano yun? Ihihingi ba sa amin yun? Kailangan ba namin ng show money? Kung minsan wala. Kung minsan napakaswerte ninyo. You will just be asked like, what is the purpose of your travel? What is the purpose of you coming to the US? Saan mo gustong mag-exam? Those are the questions. Pero there are times that the consul will ask you different things. For example, your ATT requirements ninyo para sa Prometrics, for example. Okay? So, minsan hihingan pa kayo ng kung ano-ano. Yung parang reason ninyo na babalik kayo ulit ng Philippines. Okay? So, yun. Kung minsan naman, talagang madali lang. Siniswerte kayo. Depende sa gising din ng consul yan. Alright? So, pagkatapos din nun, once na ako, ang sinasuggest ko sa mga students ko kasi is you always do them together na. So once you start na mag-credentialing, you have to also prepare doon sa review. Because credentialing will take you just like 12 weeks. And then after that, like for example, where I work, NPTE Final Frontier. NPTE Final Frontier, they give you 1 year, or we give you 1 year to prepare. 1 year yung review. O, saan kayo makakakita ng ganun? No, 1 year yung pagre-review ninyo na isa lang ang bayad ninyo. Okay? Pagkatapos nun, credentialing, pagkatapos nun, yung interview ninyo sa US Embassy, and you always have, kailangan manalangin talaga kayo sa embassy. Kasi yun yung mahirap talaga. Okay? Ang NPTE, mag-aaral lang kayo ng mabuti, madali na yan. Pero pagka hindi nyo pinagandaan at hindi kayo nanalangin na mabuti, tignan ninyo, hindi rin kayo papasa. Okay? So, ang NPTE, if you have questions, npteff.com, you could go there and then bibigyan pa namin kayo ng bawas na presyo, i-message nyo lang ako. Okay. Pagka nakapunta na kayo rito, nakapunta na kayo sa Guam or sa Hawaii or sa mainland, and then nakapag-exam na kayo. Kapag nakapag-exam naman kayo, at pumasa na kayo, merong mga sponsorships. Merong H1B, merong EB2, EB3. So merong iba't ibang klase. Ang pinupoint lang namin dito sa sponsorship, mag-iingat din lang kayo. You have to be very careful with the offers. Kasi maraming mag-o-offer sa inyo ng napakaganda, yung pala may catch. So mag-ingat din kayo sa mga ganyan. Alright? So there's no ATT release yet in NYSL, but it's already my visa interview. Yeah, kung minsan talaga makakalusot ka lang talaga eh. Okay? Is email from FSBT for exam? I guess so. You could bring that. You could bring that and then ang importante lang talaga confidence, ha? Maging matapang ka sa pagsagot. If you're not confident in answering the question from the consul, then you have a problem. Okay? So, ingatan ninyo mabuti yon. Kasi kung minsan talaga, tinitingnan lang yung confidence niyo sa tanong niya. Kung nanginginig ka. Kasi marami dito, magsistay na dito sa Amerika. Kaya kayo natatakot na, do I need to say that I want to be in, like, to take the exam in mainland US? Hindi. Kailangan sabihin ninyo yun, or kung hindi man, sasabihin ninyo mag-Hawaii kayo, then okay lang yun, walang problema. Okay, taking exams in Canada intended to practice in California. Should he take the TOEFL prior to the test? California, I think, Ravneet, they can take the exam before the TOEFL, or do they need the TOEFL before the exam?
They do need the TOEFL for the PT exam, but for PTA, they may not require it. But if they have a master's or any degree in the United States, the TOEFL can be waived off.
There you go. All right. So yung iba naman nagdi-DPT na, once na pumasok na kayo sa transitional DPT, hindi nyo na problema ang TOEFL. For example, si Gabe kasi sa Montana, ako kasi sa St. Scholastica. Sa St. Scholastica, ang mga Filipinos are not required to take the TOEFL. Filipino PTs are not required to take the TOEFL para ibigay sa St. Scholastica. So kahit wala kayong TOEFL, pwede kayong pumasok sa St. Scholastica. Kung may tanong pa kayo, tanungin nyo ako, kausapin nyo ako. Matulungan namin kayo doon. Okay? So after sponsorship, ayun. Basta mag-ingat lang kayo. Alright? Kausapin nyo ako Kasi maraming mag-o-offer sa inyo. They will offer you free things, free stuff, pero the salary will be way below na level ng PT. So if you have any questions, pwede na kayo magtanong ngayon. Go ahead. All right, thank you, Ravneet.
Thank you, Ed. I understood most of it, to be very honest.
Really?
Yes. I've been dealing with Filipino PTs for a very long time, and I could catch the words here and there.
That's
But,
good.
Yeah. All right. So let's take question answers, probably for next 10 minutes. We still have like 10 minutes to go.
May tanong ba?
Type your questions in the chat, and we'll try our best to answer these questions. Ed, sir, there are so many questions for you, so I think you're going to be the one who's answering all the questions, but please let me know if there's anything that you want me to confirm or check on the FACTS website.
Curious lang po. Kailangan mo ng credentialing. Hindi yan yung ano mo. Ang DPT is not yung pinaka-college mo. Ang hinahanap ng credentialing ay yung bachelor's mo sa Philippines. So, kailangan mo pa rin magpa-credentialing. Okay? Merong mga DPT nga na tapos na sila ng nagdi-DPT na sila, tapos na sila ng DPT. Kung minsan, meron pa silang mga deficiencies. Merong ganun mga states.
Sorry, can I
go ahead.
Something in there?
Go ahead.
So I think what we need to understand is the requirements for the state and the schools are completely different. The requirements for the type 1 evaluation, if you're going for the visa screening, is going to be a little different than if you're applying for the ECR. So let's say if you want to practice in California, it's a state that requires TOEFL for any foreign trained PT. It doesn't matter where you're coming from, except that you're coming from UK, Canada, Australia, or any country where the communication, the primary source of communication is English. All right, so I believe that Filipino PTs do need to take the TOEFL if they want to practice in California. But yes, School of Scholastica may not require TOEFL because that's a criteria to take admission into TDPT. All right, so let's just try to understand this difference. And also, just to add on, FACTS PT has some partnerships with some of the universities, which can offer you some of the discounts. Or even if you're not taking the TDPT in any of those universities, some courses, we can help you to get the discounts. I don't know which one right now. It all depends on your evaluation report. Okay, so Ed, please go ahead.
Yeah, Jericho. Yan, sinagot na yun sa'yo. Didn't get the answer. TOEFL is not required yet before. Yes, depende sa state depende sa state. Kasi kung California nga yan, you need to take the TOEFL first. You need to pass TOEFL before you could take the NPTE ng California. Sa California. If kunwari sa New York ka, hindi mo kailangan ng TOEFL doon. Waive yun. Walang problema doon. Kung nandito ka sa Chicago, kailangan pero may letter lang from the school, then that's fine na, may waive na yun. Okay? So is it advisable to take post-secondary law ethics to waive the 3 months? Some, right, Ravneet?
Sorry.
You may take the ethics like for 9 months, right? You need to have 9 months of clinical service.
If you want to turn it to like 6 months, you can take a course, ethics course. You can send an email to us if you want that information. We'll because I can't remember the whole thing, the whole email. So you just have to send an email to contact@factspt.org. We'll send you that that information on the ethics. Sir Ed, if you allow me, I can answer one question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Paul is asking basically if visa screening for CGFNS or FCCPT, which one's better? So I think we talked about it, Paul, and I understand the frustration that your file is being processed and under the processing for almost 1 year, and it's very common with CGFNS. What I recommend you to do is to email them, try to find the email ID of the CEO for the CGFNS and try to get in touch with them. If you're, or CGFNS also provide you I think they have a service called virtual consultation. So if you want to get in touch with one of their evaluators and explain them what's happening or ask them what's happening, probably that will help you to fasten your process. But if you want to apply for the FCCPT, I say that's all money game. If you are, okay to spend that much money and okay to send the documents again, I think, yeah, why not? So
All right, Wendell, you actually need Social Security to apply for California? No, but they won't give you the license number if you don't have the Social Security, right? So yeah.
I don't think that
That-
should be an issue, because to take the exam, they can issue the AIN number, which is, I think,
Correct.
alien identification number for the given.
Alternate identification number.
Yeah. And once you have the license, you apply for the job and apply for SSN. That should not be an issue.
Question. I can answer this on Edward's
Go ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
So yung flow nung so unahin mo muna yung credentialing. So magpa-file ka sa FCCPT ng NYSED. So pag naano na yung NYSED mo, mag-start ka na rin ng FSBPT account. Tapos pag na-okay yung FSBPT account, mag-apply ka sa NYSED again for a PT application. Once okay na yung lahat, it should say sa FSBPT na pwede ka na mag-exam. So, yun ang pinaka-brief overview na yun. So, unahin mo muna yung credentialing, FCCPT, NYSED, tapos kunin mo yung mga documents sa school. Gagawa ka ng FSBPT account, mag-apply ka sa NYSED website mismo ng PT application, tapos it's a waiting game from there.
Alright, yung isa naman sagutin ko lang, ha? Yung isa naman, Gabriel took FCCPT. I did IERF. Ang IERF mas mura. They're cheaper. So, mas mura siya, kaya lang wala siyang visa screening. Ang visa screening can be taken, para bang you could do that kahit na matapos na kayo makapasa. Yun ang ginawa ko sa akin. Okay, once nung natapos na ako makapasa at meron na nag-sponsor sa akin, and that is the time na nagkaroon na nag-apply for visa screening. So pwede nyo gawin yun, potol-potol. So IERF, mas mura siya kasi talagang matindi. Kung wala kayong pera sa FCCPT, patay kayo. Okay? Pan-enrolling, no, walang bayad sa Siyempre, upon enrolling may bayad na yun, siyempre. Okay? Gabe, do you want to add more? Okay, any more question, guys? Meron pa bang mga tanong? Well, I guess that's it.
All right, that sounds good. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. We keep doing these webinars again and again. If anyone's question is being missed, feel free to let us know and email us. I think we have another question for Lorraine. If Gabe, you want to answer that question.
Visa screening.
For FCCPT.
Now, regarding visa screening, I don't think I'll be the most appropriate staff to answer that because my situation is a little different.
Sure.
Ed will be the best guy to ask regarding visa.
So sa visa screening ninyo, hindi naman kailangan eh. Kaya lang, hiwalay ang visa screening laban do sa credentialing ninyo. So yung visa screening ninyo, hiwalay yun. Yun yung para maging magkaroon kayo ng H1B or EB3, EB2 ninyo. Yun yung visa screening. Yung master and doctorate ninyo, nasa hiwalay yun. Doon sa credentialing ninyo yun. Okay? Pero remember, hindi porket doctorate na kayo or hindi porket DPT na kayo, ay hindi kayo magkakaroon ng deficiencies. Manalangin kayo na maganda ang report ng school ninyo. Kasi mayroong mga schools na wala ng deficiency. Mayroong mga schools na mayroong magkakaroon ng deficiency dahil, or mga deficiencies dahil kulang yung nakalagay sa syllabus nila. Kulang yung nakalagay doon sa transcript nila. Kaya nagkakaroon pa. Kung kailangan I could give names or I could give you the schools na hindi na kailangan eh. Tulad ng kung nag-graduate kayo sa Fatima, mataas ang chance na hindi na kayo mag-credential, ay mag-deficiency. Kung graduate kayo ng Cebu Doctors. So mga ganon. May mga schools na hindi na kailangan ng deficiency, hindi na nabibigyan. Okay? TOEFL? Yeah. Expired FCCPT type 1. Can I renew it? Yeah. Pwede mo naman ibago lahat yun. Okay?
Regarding sa school yung sa deficiencies.
Yeah, yan ang problema ngayon. Yan ang problema ngayon. Iba-iba ang mga schools. Hindi namin alam lahat yung mga schools ninyo dyan. Pero
depends sa year you graduated.
Correct.
Batch mo. So, hindi dapat individualize kasi kailangan mag-apply ka na for FCCPT. Kasi mahirap sabihin just from that.
Ulitin po namin, ang DPT pa po dito sa atin, kung tayo ay nag-graduate as bachelor at pumunta kayo rito, hindi pa po kailangan ng DPT. Okay? Hindi pa po kailangan. Kaya lang po, syempre, hindi naman po tayo magpapahuli. Tulad ni Gabe. Si Gabe, maraming kinukuhan training ngayon si Gabe. Tapos na siya sa DPT niya. Pero kung kailangan ba ni Gabe, pero nagtatrabaho na siya before siya nakatapos ng mga yan. So, hindi pa po kailangan. So, huwag kayong magmadali doon sa DPT ninyo. Okay?
Yung DPT sa New York, you don't have to have a DPT para mag-work, to be honest. Nag-work na ako as bachelors lang. Nag-DPT lang ako para lang when I apply for different jobs, mas enticing for the employers. It's just para entry level ng DPT.
Correct. That's good. Yeah. Tama. Okay? So, wag muna kung medyo gipit kayo sa pera, wag nyo munang isipin ang DPT. Hindi nyo kailangan pa yan. Dahil mahal ang DPT. Kahit sabihin natin na yung school ninyo dyan, meron nag-o-offer ng DPT na mas mura, pero you will spend still like, how much they gave? 7,500, right? So, 7,500 yung sa Montana. Right? So,
parang 12K total siya. Kasi US, pag sa Philippines.
US, Philippines yata 7,500. Pero, hindi nyo pa kailangan yun. Isipin ninyo, gagastos lang kayo halos ng how much lang kung uunahin ninyo ang NPTE ninyo. Mas importante yon. Okay? Then, after you pass, then you take your TDPT, your transitional DPT. Mas mabuti na yun. Hanggat hindi pa required yung DPT muna bago mag-exam. Okay? So, dahil po ba requirements for credentialing? Hindi DPT. Hindi, parehas lang. Same lang yan. Okay? Same lang yan. DPT man kayo o hindi, same lang yan. Any chance for familiar with sila? Ano yung CLDH? Okay? So, yun. Yun ba? May mga tanong pa po ba? Before we end the... Lana?
Ed and
All right.
Just FYI, I sent some YouTube links where they can watch YouTube videos made by our team members and the previous webinars where we discussed about the TDPT programs, the requirements of the ECR and the type 1 visa screening certificate, differences between FCCPT, CGFNS, IERF. So if you guys need tutorial, you can go ahead and watch them.
All righty. I guess that's it.
All right, perfect. All right, I will let Sir Ed go because I think he still has to take some classes for the NPTE, right? He's still teaching. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time and these great efforts by you. Thank you, Vrunda, for helping us in the chat and all the FACS team. Gabe, thank you very much for giving us your time during the weekend. And,
thank you, Gabe.
Very, very grateful and really appreciate you all. See you guys in another webinar along the course, and go ahead and watch your YouTube videos. If you need any tutorials, we'll be sending you an email with additional information and a 10% discount on a lot of things. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye.